2025 has kicked off with some pretty epic television series, and I've been loving it so far. But I've got to say, the show we're going to talk about today might be my favorite of the year. Like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you're new to the channel, check it out and let me know what you think. Let's dive into MobLand. I am a sucker for mafia and gang series and movies, and I feel like it's been a while since we've gotten a really good one. Peaky Blinders ended a few years back. I loved that series. We got The Irishman a few years back, which is probably the biggest mafia movie we've had in a while. And while I enjoyed it, it was overly long when it didn't need to be, and it had various problems throughout. Overall, it was fine. But one of my favorite movies of all time is The Godfather, and The Godfather Part 2 is equally as incredible, and I just feel like we haven't got a show or movie to that level. And I'm not saying MobLand is a classic like one of those, but this is one of the better mafia series that I've seen in a while, at least since Peaky Blinders, and it's fantastic. It's led by an all-star cast, mainly Tom Hardy, who is just incredible. I mean, honestly, one of the best actors working today, and he does this contemplative, controlled, reserved assassin role so well. In and out of every scene, he's just an expert at his craft. He's the fixer for this major crime family, and he knows his shit, and he just methodically moves in and out of every scene, just so calm and collected, but underneath there's just something about to boil over. And there are a few scenes throughout this series where the assassin in him does come to light, and he just is brutal. He's just so lethal and dangerous, but it's all hidden under the surface, and he's so good at it. Pierce Brosnan is great. I don't know if I've ever seen Brosnan in a villain role. I want to see more of it. He's just so good as the leader of this crime family who's clearly lost a step, but he's doing everything he can to kind of hold on to the reins of power, and he's just so maniacal and he's just a lunatic throughout this entire show. He's clearly about to go off the deep end, and he's fantastic at it. But himself is he can be this lethal, maniacal killer, and you see that in a few moments. Helen Mirren is great as well as Brosnan's wife, and she is just this player sort of behind the scenes as she's kind of controlling Brosnan's character throughout the entire series by feeding him bad information, making her own plans with other figures in the crime realm by herself, trying to take control of this family because she sees her husband just losing all grasp of reality. And it's great to see her sort of double dealing under the table. Paddy Considine is great. I've always thought he's a very good actor, but I don't think he's ever gotten time to shine. He does in this series. He's the eldest son of Brosnan's character, and he's kind of this character where, yes, he's involved with his family and their dealings, but he doesn't always seem like he wants to be. He's very reluctant to dive deep in, but towards the end of this series, due to past trauma of his stay in prison as a teenager and being raped by one of the guards, he sort of elevates to this figure in this family who wants to take control and be the new leader, since Brosnan's character is kind of on his way out. And in the finale, you see this turn in Considine's character where he just goes full on mafia crime lord and just threatens his own father while he's in prison, telling him look, your time's over. This is my time now, and this is my family. And he does this turn where you can see it in his eyes, in his portrayal, and it's so good. The action in this show is very good throughout. It's This show is produced by Guy Ritchie, and I love Guy Ritchie, but it's not one of those over-the-top gang films that he's directed or produced in the past, where it's just like ridiculous shoot 'em up all over the place and like unbelievable like killings just in broad daylight and things like that. It's very slow moving and contemplative and methodical. And any of the killing and action done in this film is most of the time done in quiet. It's done in the countryside where there's not going to be a lot of witnesses or onlookers. Um, there's one moment where there's a car explosion in a neighborhood, but it's like a one-off. But everything in this show, all of the action, all of the movements of these gangs and their territories, it seems believable. And it seems like it could be done in modern day, even though the mafia has, in gang activity, has kind of lost their stronghold for the most part. So that's great. I love that part of it. It's all very believable. The storylines are pretty good. There's kind of like this brewing war between these rival families, between Brosnan's family and the other, I guess, co-villain of this series, Richie and his family. Richie's son is murdered at the beginning by Brosnan's grandson, and it kind of all pops off from there. Hardy spends a lot of the show trying to prevent this war because he realizes, this isn't good for anybody. Like, nobody wants this. We're just going to keep killing each other. And it's just going to shed more light on both of us from any sort of law enforcement, so why even do this? And I think that part's great. I mean, you get to see all these facets of how Hardy is an expert at what he does as he gets to kind of move in and out between families trying to keep the peace, and it's great. There's a lot of double dealing in this show between the cops and one of Richie's guys who was an ex-police officer, an investigator for a long time, and now he kind of ropes the cops in from investigating Richie. Like I said before, Helen Mirren's character kind of interacts with Richie behind the scenes to control her husband, tries to make her own deals. Hardy's making his own deals on the side. He's very loyal to this family and Brosnan's character all around, but you can tell that he's out to protect himself as well, and his wife and his daughter. And I think that's one of the best parts about this series is you see so much double dealing, behind the back conversations. This show, because of that, does such a great job at highlighting the unstable nature of this lifestyle and just the structure of the mafia and organized crime in general. Because everyone, it doesn't matter how loyal you say you are or how loyal you act, everyone is out to get their own. Everyone's selfish. Everyone is worried about keeping themselves out of prison. They don't give a shit who they have to throw by the wayside to do it. And I think that is the highlight of this series, is just kind of focusing on that and focusing on how everybody, although they're this one family in essence, they are all doing their own shit to protect themselves and make money. And it is fantastic. And in what this leads to in the finale is just an hour of just twists and turns of people stabbing people in the back, Hardy and Considine taking it upon themselves to just end this war before it starts. And it is just great. It is chock full of fantastic mafia and gang just tropes, which I did not mind at all. And this show is electric. I highly recommend it. At this time, it has not been renewed for season 2. I can't imagine it won't be, because I think the viewership numbers are good, and it's pretty well reviewed. Some people, I mean, I don't give a shit. Take Rotten Tomatoes with a grain of salt. I don't give a shit, but I think it was, last time I checked, a 76 on Rotten Tomatoes. Who cares? I feel like those reviews are good enough. I hope this show comes back for season 2 because it deserves it. And it honestly, as it stands right now, is my favorite show of 2025.